The Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix at Barber Motorsports Park. It's green, we're racing in Alabama.
A great jump from McLaughlin. He's going to lead comfortably into turn one. It's Lundgaard and Award side by side.
Whoa!
And we got a spin at the back. Stingray Rob's around.
And Jack Harvey. Kiffin Simpson splits them. They're able to continue, but drama at turn one.
If you can, want to go by.
Easy to get bunched up. How about Christian Lundgaard, the 45, looking to the inside, and here comes Scott Dixon in the orange and blue PNC car, battling his teammate Marcus Armstrong. Dixon going forward already. Oh, contact for Colton Herta. That is Santino Ferrucci getting really dirty up the inside.
You do not see contact in turn one at Barber. Oh boy.
You can tell that Colton got hit and was taking none of it as Pato Award is off the track. I think that's in turn 5 at the exit.
But let's take a look at what happened to Pato Award.
You know what happened? He got in too deep, locked up, was going to hit the back there, I think, of Lundgaard, and decided, I don't want to hit another car in the start like I did at Long Beach, and the right side's got in the grass.
Fittipaldi in the MyJack Honda. He says, somebody took me out, completely took me out. Oh, it's Pato Award. What an eventful start to the day for Pato. While we're in the break, Scott Dixon, championship leader, ran off track and he has fallen back. Here he goes. He's going to do Joseph's move to himself. They hit. They hit and Newgarden's off. Armstrong and Newgarden collide. Alex Palou leads the field back to green.
As you watch the leaders go through 2-3, it's Scott McLaughlin and Will Power just getting up there. It's crazy to see how much track position they've lost with that caution and the stop. But up top, action as we see Marcus Ericsson having to defend against Rinus VeeKay, who's got himself back in the fight.
Oh, VeeKay has been carving his way through the field. Meanwhile, look at that bottom box. Power alongside McLaughlin. The two teammates from Penske going at it.
Nice move from Will Power. McLaughlin returning the favor to Will Power.
There's been an accident of a different kind.
Okay, so that bridge there.
Not a real person, we should point out right away. This is part of the eccentric art that populates Barber Motorsports Park. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh my goodness.
Who was that was just driving by as it happened? That must have been quite a shock.
Imagine if she stuck the landing.
Put this into the list of things you don't see at a racetrack.
Stingray Rob in turn one in the AJ Foyt car is heavy into the barriers.
Watch this. Oh, we got sideways, straight across, and straight in. But we have heard from Stingray Rob. That's a positive.
Which strategy works out? Will Power wanted no changes to the car. Let's see where the blend happens, and can these new tires make the difference?
Scotty Mack, smooth sailing, keeps the gap to his teammate. And there is Alex Palou.
So easily in and out ahead of the Spaniard, who's on a different strategy.
Battle for third.
There is no battle. That was just a blow-by. The rookie on the champ. Whoa! Rasmussen! Around he goes. This thing is not over yet. Let's finish this one off. Here we go. McLaughlin and Power at the front of the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix.
Big advantage for Scott McLaughlin is that clean air through that first high-speed corner. Will Power trying to stay close.
He was last in the championship points after that DQ. He has answered it emphatically. Scotty Mack, McLaughlin wins at Barber for back-to-back years, and Team Penske back on top.
Oh yeah, 33 to the moon, boys. Thank you so much. Well done, team. So proud of the execution. So proud. Thanks.
Up next, it's the Sanzio Grand Prix, Saturday, May 11th. Watch it at 3 p.m. on NBC.
You're going to have to go off mute there. There we go. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome to the Push to Pass podcast. I am Derek Vance, and joining me, as usually, is Josh Roberts. Josh, how you doing this evening?
I am doing fantastic. It's a sweltering day here in the Roberts household, pushing sweat away from my brow. But other than that, I am glad to be on. Can't wait to talk about all of the topics we have for this illustrious podcast. There are quite a few this time.
Oh, there are quite a few indeed. We are obviously going to start out with the penalties that came down to Team Penske right before race weekend. Surprisingly enough, I think it was Wednesday. I think is when those penalties came about. We'll talk about those. That's how we're going to open the show. Obviously, we're going to talk about everything that took place at Barber this weekend, from the racing to the other shenanigans, to say the least, that took place at Barber. We'll run down. We'll go through my 5 takeaways from Barber. I'm kind of curious to see if Josh agrees or not agrees, but get his take on the 5 takeaways I got from Barber this weekend. Also, we'll go through the obviously the race results, what the point standings look like, and congratulations to Josh for getting the right or correct or highest picked driver this week. I thought I was on cruise control there with my driver, but Linus Lundqvist, great ride for him, picking up his first podium. So we'll go over the picks as well in the yearly standings, and then the news that broke yesterday, Josh, I think came to a surprise to a lot of people. Doing some further research on it, sounds like this has been brewing now for the last few weeks, and it finally came to a head there on Monday. But like I said, before we get into the race, let's take a look at the announcement that IndyCar made, Josh, right before this race weekend. I believe it came down on Wednesday. Yes, what we're referring to there is what's up on screen. IndyCar announces St. Petersburg penalty. I know Josh is going to have an interesting take on this. I know we talked about this on our way to do another show on Thursday, so I can't wait to hear obviously what he has to say, and since he's been able to let this brew for a little bit longer, but the official announcement right here, IndyCar has announced, and again this was on Wednesday, penalties for Team Penske, including disqualifications for the number 2 driver Joseph Newgarden, along with number 3 Scott McLaughlin, and a 10-point penalty for number 12, Will Power, from the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding on Sunday, March 10th, on the streets of St. Petersburg. Team Penske was in violation of the following push-to-pass parameters. 1, Rule 14.19.15, an indicator to enable push-to-pass will be sent via CAN or CAN communication from the timing and scoring beacon on board the car to the team data logger. This signal must be passed on to the ECU unmodified and uninterrupted during all road and street course events. And then Rule 14.19.16, race starts in any race restart that occurs before the lap prior to the white flag or prior to 3 minutes remaining in a timed race event will have the push-to-pass system disabled and will be enabled for a given car once that car reaches an alternate start-finish line. According to the rulebook, the violation is considered a race procedure penalty 922, which includes the right to reposition the car/driver in the posting or results, with a disqualification 9226 that includes the forfeiture of points and awards. During the Sunday, April 21st warm-up session ahead of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, IndyCar discovered that team's possible rules violation. An extensive review of the data from the race on the streets of St. Petersburg revealed that Team Penske manipulated the overtake system so that the number 2, number 3, and number 12 cars had the ability to use push-to-pass on starts and restarts. According to the IndyCar rulebook, use of overtake is not available during championship races until the car reaches the alternate start-finish line. It was determined that the number 2 and number 3 gained a competitive advantage by using push-to-pass on restarts, while the number 12 did not. Additionally, all 3 entries have been fined $25,000 and will forfeit all prize money associated with the Streets of St. Petersburg race. Quote, "The integrity of the IndyCar Series Championship is critical to everything we do," IndyCar President Jay Fry said. While the violation went undetected at St. Petersburg, IndyCar discovered the manipulation during Sunday's warm-up in Long Beach and immediately addressed it, ensuring all cars were compliant for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Beginning with this week's race at Barber Motorsports Park, new technology inspection procedures will be in place to deter this violation. Due to the disqualification penalty of the number 2 and number 5 entry, Due to the disqualification penalty of the number 2, the number 5 entry of Arrow McLaren, driven by Pato O'Ward, is now credited with the win on St. Petersburg. An updated official results from the St. Petersburg race is available here, with updated 2024 standings available here. Members may contest the imposition of the penalties detailed in the review and appeal procedures of the NTT IndyCar Series rulebook. So, Josh, my first question when this came about, and I know I brought this up to you as well, it was, why did it take so long? I mean, we know that obviously the St. Petersburg race was the second weekend in March, and I guess this was discovered during the warm-up of Long Beach. So I guess that was my thing, is why did it take so long for this to be discovered? But what is your take on this news that came down this past week?
Well, when you first told me about it, it was shocking. Cars being disqualified, that's nothing new, but a race winner being disqualified is I mean, I've seen that happen in short track, but never in a big league race. I have a few questions, a few concerns. I mean, as you said, why did it take so long? I mean, how did they not? So here's I have 4 main questions. Actually, 3 main questions and 1 observation. A, did the drivers not know the rules? Did they not know that they're not allowed to use push to pass on restarts? If they didn't know that, that's shame on them. How do you not know that? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. 2, why did it take so long? As I sat here and I started thinking, why did it take so long? Did the installed software also work for their being able to use push to pass during Thermal Club? We didn't even talk about that. If it was just found out at Long Beach, was it used at Thermal Club? I know that it didn't help any of the drivers win, but was it used at Thermal Club? How did they not notice it was at Thermal Club? 3, my third question is, why did Penske let their drivers come out and make individual statements on this? It should have been one unified statement. One unified statement from the team, and they should not have let three different drivers come out and make individual comments unless they were in a press conference. And if I was in a press conference, I'd advise all the reporters beforehand. We're sticking to our team press release. We're not going to answer any questions about that. And my one observation is they can see, NBC can see that when the drivers are on push to pass on the live broadcast. They'll point that out all the time. This driver's on push to pass. He's used this much time on that particular thing. How did IndyCar not see that? How do you not if your television broadcast can see it, how can race control not see it? Those are my questions, and it's shocking that this has happened. It pushes Penske's chance of winning a championship back a little bit. But also I congratulations to Pato O'Ward. He's got his win. He's been looking for that long-standing win, and he finally got it. So those are my observations and my questions on this particular subject.
Well, let me ask this before we wrap this up. I know it's been talked about obviously since the news broke on Wednesday. Do you believe and do you feel that the punishment that the IndyCar gave to Team Penske, to all three of those teams, and obviously stripping the win away, taking points away, and fining them, does the punishment fit the crime there?
Definitely. I mean, you can't say for sure that it helped Newgarden win the race, but you can't say that it didn't. You can't say for sure it didn't. And if they would have come down light on Penske, it would have looked bad in the eyes of, for me, it would have looked bad because possibly you would have given preferential treatment to Penske due to his high regard and high standing in the IndyCar circuit. And as we always say, when you set a low, when you set a punishment, you're now setting a precedent. And I think they want that precedent to be high. This one, it's considered cheating. You cheated. Your pitcher out on the mound got caught with sticky stuff. He's gone. The balls are inflated. You get punished. You're suspended. They need to set a high tone for cheating, whether it was unintentional, whether it was a mistake. It's still cheating in the eyes of the rules. So I agree with the punishment wholeheartedly. How about you?
Yeah, I'm on board. I know it's unprecedented, obviously, in the 3 years or so now that we've been covering IndyCar. We haven't seen anything like this. I think the precedent has been set, obviously, going forward. But the point that I'm going to make, just to add to what you just said there, is something that I know I've talked about before with you in groups and such. But if you set an example, when somebody breaks the rules, somebody breaks the law, and you set an example of that person or that individual or that team, everybody else is going to fall in line. And I think, obviously this was probably an honest mistake. In my opinion, I think it was an honest mistake. But IndyCar set a precedent. They made Team Penske an example. Yes, Roger is a huge series backer financially. Yes, he is the owner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but you can't treat him, like you said, any different than any other car owner. So they made an example out of Team Penske. When you make a mistake, big or small, that may or may not give you a advantage on the track, the punishment's going to fit, or the punishment's going to fit the crime. And I think that's what they did here. And so I commend IndyCar for not going lightly. And I think the punishment was justified. Now I think we all can move on and talk about something more exciting and more fun and interesting. And that is what took place this weekend in Birmingham, Alabama, the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix. What an entertaining race. I think the last couple races, I know some people are probably going to have a differing opinions, but I think the last two races, I think, have been entertaining to watch, and this one was no exception. You had some teams going on 2-pit strategies, some teams going on 3-pit strategies, and it worked for some, and it didn't work for others. But my 5 takeaways, and we'll do what we did a couple weeks ago. I'll go through them, and then I'll love to hear what Josh's rebuttal is to them. But like we've been talking about here, after such a dark week for Team Penske, and I think that is truly an understatement. They were able, Scott McLaughlin was able to put all of the outside noise behind him to win for the second consecutive year at Barber Motorsports Park and the Children's of Alabama Grand Prix, or Indy Grand Prix, powered by AM First. McLaughlin and his number 3 Good Ranchers Team Penske Chevrolet led 58 of the 90 allotted laps and held teammate Will Power, who was driving the number 12 Verizon Business Team Penske Chevrolet, at bay for a 1.3194 second victory. Josh, did you know that McLaughlin has now won at least one race in each of the last 3 seasons after joining Team Penske full-time in 2021? Quote, "We knew our job. We knew what we needed to do," McLaughlin said. "I'm just super proud of the execution. A couple yellows didn't fall our way, but we just showed our pace. We kept rolling, man." Interesting, Josh, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when Scott McLaughlin has the Good Ranchers logo and the Good Ranchers entry on his car for the weekend, he calls it the meat wagon. I don't know if you knew that or not. I figured you'd get a kick out of that. He calls it the meat wagon. So, but definitely one of the best drives in terms of execution and just knocking out laps. I'm very happy we could have advanced to the checkered flag there and bring home a W for Team Penske and Roger Penske as well. So my 5 takeaways, Josh, number 5 here has to do with actually the person you picked to win the race, Felix Rosenqvist. And I'm just amazed at what a change of scenery can do for a driver, specifically Rosenqvist in this situation, obviously. Since he switched from Arrow McLaren in 2023 to Meyer Shank this year, all Felix Rosenqvist has done is qualified P2 for St. Petersburg and finished in the top 5. At Long Beach, if you remember, he won the NTT P1 award and finished P9. And then this past week, at Barber, Josh was no different. Rosenqvist in the number 60 nationwide Sirius XM Honda qualified P5 and came home with a P4 finish for Meyer Shank Racing. The one question I have is Rosenqvist with the little bit of momentum that Rosenqvist and Meyer Shank Racing have heading into the month of May. The limits for them are there's no limit to them. Kind of curious to get to your thoughts on the run that Rosenqvist had on Sunday.
Definitely. That's why I chose him. I had followed him all weekend. He was up and down and finishing 4th, being and qualifying 5th. I felt like he's been on kind of a roll. He hasn't had the finishes he's wanted. Of course, everyone always wants a podium or a champion or a first place finish, but he's doing leaps and bounds better than he did at Arrow McLaren. I don't know if that's just the change of scenery. I don't know if that's now because maybe he's the main guy, the main guy in Meyer Shank, and some more they're putting more emphasis on him, and he's getting a little bit more attention on the team, whereas he wasn't probably getting as good of attention on Arrow McLaren, when they were focusing more on Pato Award and his other teammates. But Rosenqvist, I chose him this week. I felt like he had a strong weekend. So and he's doing great. And I do say moving into the month of May, this P4 this P4 finish for him can do nothing but catapult him to maybe qualifying maybe on the first or second row, and maybe even pulling off the win and bringing a Indy 500 championship to Meyer Shank.
Yeah, love to see the momentum that Felix Rosenquist and that whole racing team have, and don't forget, going into the month of May, going into the 500, Elio is going to be behind the wheel as well, trying to make that fifth win as well. So don't count him out. But yeah, a lot of momentum over in the Meyer Shank camp. For sure. Fourth takeaway that I had, or the second bullet point here, is I thought it was great to see Santino Ferrucci and the AJ Foyt Racing at the front. We know what the name AJ Foyt means around Indianapolis. It was great to see his car up there towards the front. Since signing with AJ Foyt Racing in 2023, Santino Ferrucci has only been able to make a little bit of noise last year. If you remember, Josh, him running so well at the Indianapolis 500 and coming within an eyelash of or so of winning, where he had a career best finish, P3. Well, Sunday at Barber was different for sure. Ferrucci was able to keep his number 14 Sexton Property Chevrolet for the majority of the race up front, while also leading 14 laps and coming home with a top 10 finish, P7. Heading into the month of May, question I have is can Ferrucci and AJ Foyt Racing repeat his performance, or even better, bring home another Borg Warner trophy for AJ Foyt?
Yeah, Ferrucci, he's as I always say, he's an up and coming driver. He's doing lots of good things for the AJ Foyt, and I know AJ's got to be out there giving him all the guidance he can, giving him the advice that he can of his many years of experience, both as a team owner and as a driver. So, and there's only a handful of other former drivers I would want to be on my side for going into the month of May, and AJ Foyt is one of those. He's gaining ground. He's becoming better and better each week, and I see him in the future, maybe in the next 2 or 3 seasons, being up there competing for a championship.
Yeah, he definitely has the equipment there at AJ Foyt. He showed that last year at the 500, and then this past weekend at Barber for sure. Next point I had, and I touched on this a little bit as well. What a run! What a pit strategy call by the Lunas Lundquist crew there on Sunday. After winning the 2022 Indy Next Championship, Lunas Lundquist was left wondering if he would pick up a ride for the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series season. Well, due to a mid-season injury, if you remember back to Simon Pagenaud there at Mid-Ohio, Lundquist's opportunity came calling. Filling in 3 races in 2023, Chip Ganassi decided in the offseason to take a chance on him, and today, Lundquist's patience paid off, or on Sunday, rather. Qualifying in 19th position did not faze Lundquist, as he drove his way through the field in the number 8 American Legion Honda to collect his best finish of his career, P3, and collect his first podium of his career as well. Again, talking about momentum, with momentum on his side, it's going to be interesting to watch, Josh, in the next upcoming month out at IMS, what Lundquist can do in the 500 when he has the backing of Chip Ganassi Racing equipment.
Oh, definitely. Lundquist being a rookie this year in the NTT, and I mean, Barber's not a track known for people coming from the back and being able to contend for a win, but gaining 16 spots and from the beginning to the end is an impressive thing. I mean, that's not something you typically see on road courses such as this one. So to be able to come home P3 and get his first podium. He's got to be jacked going into the month of May. We saw some flashes of brilliancy last year while he was doing some fill-in driving, but this year he's gotten to take the reins, and Chip Ganassi is. I'm sure that team's going to give him every chance and every possibility to be able to come home with one of the 2 wins this coming May, and whether it be the road course or the or the granddaddy of them all of the 500. So watch out for Mr. Lundqvist. He's coming, and he's not slowing down.
Yeah, huge congratulations goes out to him for his run this past Sunday. Now, this next point, I want everybody to keep in mind that I wrote this article on the Push to Pass Substack Sunday evening. I had no idea what was about to take place in about 12 hours later. So keep this in mind. My second takeaway was it's so much bad luck that it's staying at or with Arrow McLaren. After a week that's seen the St. Petersburg win be awarded to Pato Award, the luck unfortunately did not translate at Barber this weekend. Award was given 2 different drive-through penalties on lap 11 and 90 respectively due to avoidable contact, which shuffled his number 5 Arrow McLaren Chevrolet to the back of the field, where he finished 23rd. Now, Alexander Rossi, on the other hand, did not fare much better. Rossi in the number 7 Velo Chevrolet was also issued a drive-through penalty for hazard mechanical condition. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is whoever the tire changer is on the number 7 Velo Chevrolet forgot to tighten the left back rear tire, because on lap 62, that is where it came off, which forced Rossi to finish 25th, 30 laps down. And then last but not least, the rookie making his second start for Arrow McLaren, Theo Porcher, filling in for the injured David Malukas, which again, I had no idea what was going to happen 12 hours later. In the number 6 Onsim Chevrolet finished P22. Now, this is where things get interesting because, like I said, Josh, I wrote this on Sunday, and my takeaway from the bad luck that Arrow McLaren had this past weekend, I simply asked, what changes, if any, will Arrow McLaren make between now and Indy?
Well, we'll take this point by point. Once again, race control. How do they judge avoidable contact? I mean, just like we saw back in Long Beach, Herta comes in contact with someone, no penalty. But it seems like every time now I know it's a judgment call, but my question to race control, how do you say unavoidable contact? I mean, apart from Pato just driving straight up underneath the car, I don't understand the unavoidable contact. Could you imagine if NASCAR had unavoidable contact penalties? It would be they would be doing drive-throughs all day long. So unavoidable contact, stupid rule, stupid thing. Rossi and his tire man being incompetent and not being able to not being able to tighten down the lug nut on his tire. It's not like you got to hit multiple lug nuts like on a NASCAR. You only got one. You just push it in there and then you pull it out. But I don't know how. I mean, that's just. And then with Portillas, or Theo, as I call it, because I don't want to butcher his last name. He's been put into a no-win situation. He's there replacing David Malukas, and I don't think he's ready for NTT. I don't think he's ready to go out there and be on be on the big stage. He's just not. I don't think he has the experience out there as of right now. And then Arrow McLaren, I think they need to. They need to do something. They need to get the. It's as if they have a hex on their glove. They need to go out and kill a live chicken and jump backwards and do a rain dance. Do something to get that get that voodoo off that team. I mean, you can even say this started out with the whole Pelot incident, where Pelot was coming, then he wasn't coming, and now he got the lawsuit. I don't know. Zach Brown must be somebody must have like a voodoo doll or put a hex on him or something. But Arrow McLaren, just going into the month of May, they are in disarray right now.
Sure seems like maybe Chip Ganassi got the last laugh, and maybe instead of getting Arrow McLaren a live chicken, they should just go to KFC and get him a chicken there instead. I know I got that reference. The last bullet point that I have, the last takeaway from Barber this past weekend does obviously have to do with Team Penske, and it just shows when they're backed into a corner, Penske just comes out swinging. It was well documented, all the attention that Team Penske got this week from IndyCar and the media, but they were able to drown out all of the outside noise and not only sweep the front row of qualifying, but finishing 1-2 in the race as well. Scott McLaughlin earned his first NTT P1 award and repeated his race winner. Will Power finished P2 and collected his 93rd career podium finish, while Joseph Newgarden struggled to come home at P16. Next question I have for Penske is, up next is the team's quote-unquote home track. Can they repeat as 500 champions?
Yeah, as we talked about at the top of the show, the controversy with Team Penske, and this is the best way. It was the best way for Penske to come out and answer all their naysayers. Oh, you cheated, which they did. They have to own up to that. But to be able to come out and take the headline off of the fact that they were caught cheating, a win for McLaughlin and second place for Will Power is one heck of an answer. I know Will Power was not indicated in. He was penalized only due to the fact that he's on Team Penske, but for them to come out and go 1-2, and of course Newgarden being bumped off the course at one particular point didn't help. But this was a good bounce back, good answer to take the emphasis off of the cheating scandal and put it on. Hey, we're going into May, and we have so much momentum. We have so much momentum. Our drivers have shown such good poise and everything in this. They didn't let the controversy get to them, and they went out in there and won. So kudos to Team Penske. Just hopefully they can make sure they don't screw up again this whole year.
Yeah, with all that being said, let's take a look at the results from Sunday. Obviously, Scott McLaughlin was your winner, followed by Will Power, Linus Lundqvist, Felix Rosenqvist, and Alex Palou are your top five. Then it is Christian Lundgaard, Santino Ferrucci, Colton Herta, Marcus Armstrong, and Kyle Kirkwood round out your top 10. Then it's Graham Rahal, Roman Grosjean, Jack Harvey, Kiffin Simpson, Dixon, Joseph Newgarden, Renus VK, Marcus Ericsson, Tom Bloomquist, and Augustine Canapino round out your top 20. Then it's Luca Gitio, Theo Porcher, I believe that's how that's pronounced, Pato Award, Christian Rasmussen, Alexander Rossi, Josh's favorite, Stingray Robb, and then in 27th was Petro Fittipaldi. So with all that being said and all of the penalties that were given out, the points deductions. Let's take a look at the updated to the minute point standings. Right now, your points leader is Colton Herta. Then it is Will Power, Alex Pillow, Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenquist, Pato Award, Kyle Kirkwood, Lunas Lundquist, Scott McLaughlin, and Santino Ferrucci round out your top 10. Then it is Renus VK, Alexander Rossi, Roman Grosjean, Marcus Ericsson, Christian Lundgaard, Joseph Newgarden, Graham Rahal, Kiffin Simpson, Marcus Armstrong, Augustine Canapino, Jack Harvey, Tom Bloomquist round out to the 22nd position. Then following them is Petro Fittipaldi, Theo Porcher, Stingray Robb, Christian Lundgaard round out your top 26. So with that, we will go to we'll throw the race picks up here. And like I said at the beginning of the show, Josh is on a little bit of a roll. He's like butter. He is on a roll currently, getting the last two right there, as you see up on screen. I was awarded with what took place this week, St. Petersburg, with the Pato Award coming home first. Obviously, it's the Thermal Club, but neither one of our drivers finished the race. And then the last 2 weeks at Long Beach, it was Colton Herta, the highest finisher there. And then this past week at Barber, it was Felix Rosenquist, the highest finisher there. So Josh has a slight lead early in the season there at 2-1. Let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk to some of the drivers that took part in the race this past weekend, and then we'll get to one of the crazier moments I think you will ever see on a race course that I know Josh is going to absolutely get a kick out of.
What a race today.
It's been a lively race. Seems to just keep getting caught up in other people's accidents in the wrong place at the wrong time. Got spun out in turn one, so went backwards, bit through the gravel, carried on, and then somehow we finished 13th. But actually, I think if that last yellow hadn't happened, I think that was a top 10 day. Great strategy call by everybody on the 18th stand. I keep telling everybody I feel like it's coming and momentum is building, and whether it's with a bit of help or not, we're showing it. I think we could have transferred yesterday. We finished 13th. Overall, pretty good weekend here in Barber Motorsports Park. Hopefully we just build a little bit of momentum from there, keep this number 18 in Best Tail Point Racing Honda at the sharper end, and just keep improving every weekend.
Nope. Yep.
Solid day for us here at AJ Foyt Racing.
Nope. Yep.
Solid day for us here at AJ Foyt Racing. Man, we had a fast car, got all the way up to the lead. Strategy was phenomenal. Really feels good to come back off of Long Beach where we kind of missed everything a little bit on the strat side and then nail it today. So fortunate for the late position in the end. We probably would have had a nice top 5, but that's racing for us, and looking forward to going into the GP with it.
First race was long. I'm happy that we got to the end because this is probably the most physical car in the world. And I was not sure I was going to be fit enough to do a 90 laps race. So that was the first goal, and I'm happy that we made it. On the race itself, I think I had a little bit too many mistakes because doing pit stops, everything was just new to me, especially going from the reds to the black tires. All of that basically was like every lap was something new. So. For sure there was too many mistakes, but on one side I'm happy that I had those because I know that now I actually learn more thanks to those mistakes, and we will get to Indy more prepared. Just looking forward to it right now. For sure it feels good now to know that I've been through an entire weekend, and a lot of the stress, everything that when everything is new, it's just everything is stressful. So and it was a really busy week, so I know that next time in Indy it will be much more relaxed, and I can just focus on driving and doing the best as I can.
Yeah, P4, I say we take that any day. We came here, we didn't feel quick initially. kind of had some challenges early weekend, and after that we just kept improving, and I think our strongest session was the race. We were on a massive fuel save, and pretty much everyone around us tried to do a 3-stopper, so it was hard to keep everyone behind, but I'm happy we stuck to that strategy because that gave us a couple of spots in the end, even if we were not on the winning strategy. But yeah, we made the most out of it, climbed one spot essentially, and a lot of points this weekend. A lot of points on a weekend where we weren't the favorite, so those are the important ones for sure.
Was Felix Rosenquist with his comments after the race on Sunday. Before we get to Mike, and I'm curious to hear how much coin he was able to put away this weekend at Barber. This next video clip, and again, I can't go this show without showing this. I know this might be Josh's favorite part of the race. I know he has a lot of questions about why there are certain pieces of artwork, so to say, around Barber, but I think this shows how dangerous pieces of artwork that aren't completely tied down can be if they fall from the sky or fall from a bridge, so to say, and you have cars that are coming by at 125, 130 mile an hour. So I'm going to show this, and again, this is going to be one of the craziest things I think you've ever seen in a IndyCar race. And the cool thing that the NTT IndyCar series did is this video here, they were able to get some of the audio from the drivers to their engineers or to their crew chiefs about what the hell's going on out on the track. So here you go.
Hell, the woman fell off the bridge.
Oh boy, there's been an accident of a different kind.
Well, that's a new one. The girl hanging from the bridge fell.
Not a real person, we should point out right away. This is part of the eccentric art that populates Barber Motorsports Park.
Falling off the bridge. They showed that replay. That is one of the stranger things I've seen. I was wondering what that was. She must have woke up and chose violence.
I think the lady that hangs from the tower is laying like right next to the track. If you want to tell them.
Copy that. She's getting more TV time than you, so I think they know.
Put this into the list of things you don't see at a racetrack. By the way, her name is Georgina. I'm not sure Georgina was ever meant to come down from the overpass.
You better hope the IndyCar drivers know that that's a mannequin.
That person. On the... Oh, no, it wasn't. I'll take that back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we were about ready to tell you.
I'm at a loss for words on that.
See, Mike is joining us now. Mike, how would you react if you're driving in your Corvette that you have from all your winning with all the bets that you've placed, and all of a sudden a mannequin just falls from the sky?
Look, it's been a rough couple weeks or start to the IndyCar series and betting wise. I bet Pato O'Ward in the first race, and he won, but I didn't get paid for it. So that's ticking me off because the DQs. Then in the next race, I bet Newgardner in Long Beach. He gets rear-ended by Herta when he should have been, while Dixon is magically saving fuel and nobody knows how. So I lose that bet, which looked like it was going to be a winner. And this week I have Scott McLaughlin at 8-1. And when that thing fell, all I could think about was I'm about to lose this bet because a mannequin fell from a bridge. And I was just like, you can't make this stuff up. And I was sitting in my porch watching the race, and there was expletives like flying, and thank God that her hand flew off and they didn't call a yellow, and she wasn't in the middle of the track, and McLaughlin won because it was a nice little 8-1 cash that makes up for the other ones to a certain extent. But I feel like I should be 3-0 with winners, but it was a good week. I was on McLaughlin right from the jump. So I had an 8-1 ticket. He nailed the pole. So it was a nice little cash. I even bet in on more McLaughlin at 2.5-1 after he got the pole. So the only really disappointment was Award. Like, I thought he was a pretty good top 3 bet at 2-1 last week. But I think I said on your podcast it was Award, McLaughlin, and Pillow were the guys that I was targeting, and they all, but for Pato, we got a winner out of that.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't screw up your bet. So you're telling me that you contacted your betting places and they wouldn't give you your money, seeing Pato won?
No go. They
terrible.
have racing rules, and this was I got a lot. There's a couple people on Twitter that didn't get paid from most. Now, a couple of the books offered like bonus bets and gave people like, oh, here's $20 in bonus bets depending on their bet size. My book Hard Rock sent me an email, and I posted it on Twitter, and it said, hey, the results are final as of the official things, like daily post race, or that, and that's it. Like, there's basically no changes after the fact. And I mean, look, it's kind of unheard of. Like, IndyCar is the only series that decides to change things. Like, I think when in other racing series, if there's a DQ, like, they announce it immediately or just immediately following the race. Like, they don't make results official. They make results official following the race, and they don't go back and like unofficial them and change them later. So no, they wouldn't pay me out on Pato. So that stunk. That's kind of a big kick in the nuts. But that's betting. It is what it is. So I did have they did pay me I guess they didn't refund my McLaughlin top 3 as a winner, so a little bit of a help, but it was a nice Pato ticket. I think it was 5-1 and 6-1 on him. So well, but hit the Scotty McLaughlin 8-1, all is well in the world, and I'm ready to bet the 500.
Oh yeah, definitely 500. We got one race before that with the road course, but we next May starts tomorrow, so it's gonna be one heck of a month betting on the 2 races this month.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot we got the GP sandwiched in there, so we'll get a chance to make some money for the 500 on that, and then we'll move to the 500 after that. And I was looking at the 500 odds just now before we came on, and Pato and Pillow are now your 6-1 co-favorites at DraftKings, followed by Kyle Larson at 6.5-1. Okay, don't bet that. Don't know why that is. But what did strike me was Will Power at 18-1. I mean, I expect there obviously was it 2-3 years ago where like Penske almost didn't, they did the Ray Hall thing last year and almost didn't get in the field, but previous winner, usually a fast car. Penske's usually fast at Indy. Expect him to qualify well. Like, I think I might think about that if that number hangs out there a little bit longer. Ferrucci's at 22-1. That's interesting as well. And even Rosenquist is at 16-1, which I think is interesting. So I might be taking my McLaughlin money and making some small little future bets on the 500. If those numbers, those are pretty good numbers, I think. I like to dabble with the longer shots before we get to actual race day.
Yeah. I'll be down in Tunica, Mississippi at the Horseshoe next week, and I'll have to see if they have any odds up in their sports book. It's not a very big sports book, but they probably have some.
You went on mute, Josh.
Sorry. Like I said, I'm going to Tunica, Mississippi next week. Going to stay at the Horseshoe. They got a sports book. I'll look and see if they have any odds down there. I can't imagine they wouldn't have anything for the 500. So may take one. That Will Power really sounds interesting. Except especially after his performance this past week.
Yeah, he's been good this year. He's been right there, and he kind of said it, like just looking to win one of these races. He's been close. I went back and forth last week on betting him, but then the engine changed, the clutch issue. He said he was sick. I was just like, it's just too much noise for me. So I jumped off his top 3, and I put a little bet on Lundgaard top 3. So I mean, he's interesting, and that's double digits almost. That's a pretty nice little number. So power something to keep an eye on. And then look, the sports books are not going to pay attention to any of the testing that goes on the next couple weeks. So we'll pay attention to that, and maybe see if we can make some 500 bets as we get closer. But if I decide to do that, I'll post it on Twitter, and or X, and you can decide if you want to jump on or not.
Yep. Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Vance.
The only one that I was curious about, and maybe I missed it, Mike, was are they disrespecting the sports books? That is the IndyCar, the 500 champion Newgarden last year. Did you already go over that one?
He's 7.5 to 1. So he's the 4th guy on the board. The Kyle Larson number is funny. Like, I mean, that's obviously they're doing that because NASCAR fans are going to bet him. So that's, not surprising that they got to do that. His chances of winning are probably more like, 60, 70 to 1. But, 7.5 to 1 on Newgarden's interesting. I don't have, I didn't bet him last year. He was outside of, that's top 8.5 starters. I think he just he got a little lucky, I think, last year that, Pato crossed himself out and some things happened, and he got lucky that the timing worked out with Ericsson. Ericsson's 15 to 1. I mean, 2 years in a row, he could have won it. That's interesting as well. So I think you got to wait on all these guys that are in the single digits for the 500. Like, you can't bet that now. The number's going to move around. The market's going to move a ton now. If somebody's fastest, like, you make it a chance to bet him at either you wait and you'll get him at 6 or 7 to 1 anyways, or maybe he does poorly in practice or carb day or something like that, and the books move him up to like 10, 11 to 1. But I don't know. I think he's right at 7.5 to 1, considering he's the past champion. He's, he at one point he was the championship favorite. I think Joseph's championship not looking so hot right now. But we did get one win. My McLaughlin over 1.5 wins.
In the last,
we're halfway there.
I know you would probably be telling me, but I actually was thinking going into the 500, putting a bet on Larson being the dark horse. But now knowing that NASCAR is going to probably jack that up, I may not do it. But I wouldn't see why not. It seems like to me, doesn't matter what car or whatever Larson drives, he drives the hell out of it no matter what it is.
I'll take your bet. Let me know how much you want to give put down. I'll give you 6.5 to 1 if you want me to play your bookie. I feel pretty confident that he is not going to win the race. Look, maybe I'll be wrong. Like, he better show out in qualifying, and I just think like maybe if he sticks with this and does the year 2, year 3, I'm sure maybe one of you guys know the stat top of your head. Last time a rookie driver won the race, I think you got to go way, 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 way back. Maybe we can figure that out, but it's been a while. So,
wasn't it just a few years ago Alexander Rossi did it?
In his very first 500? I don't know. But, he's not even a full-time IndyCar driver. NASCARs don't go 225 miles an hour last time I checked. So, no thank you for me. But I see what you're saying. We'll see. Who knows?
Josh, you have anything else?
Nope. I think I'm good.
Cool. All right, boys. Well, hey, Let's go
All right,
sell.
See you later.
stuff. Always go check out Mike on Twitter and then or X, and then obviously he'll be back next week to handicap the Cincio Grand Prix from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, Mike, a huge thank you for joining us, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
See you guys.
Good stuff there. As always, check Mike out there on Twitter or X, and if you're looking to bet on IndyCar, definitely him and Tony Donahue, in my opinion, would be the 1-2 punch to help you do that. Before we get to our news and notes section, we do need to thank our sponsors that make it possible for us to bring you the Push to Pass podcast on a weekly basis. First and foremost, huge thank you to Always Ready 1776 for all of your patriotic apparel, headwear, and more. Go check out Always Ready 1776. You can find them on the web at alwaysready1776.com. And if you do find something that you do want to purchase, make sure you're using that promo code that you see up on your screen, Push to Pass, for 10% off of your order. Next is Gettum Associates. For all of your home design, build, and remodeling needs, remember, it's Gettum Associates. And you can also find them on the web at gettum.com. And if you do choose to go with their services, make sure you use that promo code that you see down at the bottom of the screen as well, Push to Pass, for $250 off any design service. Remember, Always Ready 1776 and Gettum Associates, huge sponsors, and huge thank you from us and the Push to Pass podcast. Josh, we do have one more story to get to. News that broke yesterday morning, to be exact. Like I said, it came to a shock to both of us. But I read a little more, and then obviously I did a story last night on it, and that has to do with the Arrow McLaren deciding to release David Malukas of his contract. Now, like I said, a lot more details I was able to dig up yesterday while doing this story, so it may make a little bit more sense. But like I said, in a shocking turn of events leading into the month of May, Arrow McLaren made it official as they terminated David Malukas from his contract yesterday morning. Malukas, who signed with Arrow McLaren this past offseason after 2 years for driving for HMD Motorsports, suffered a dislocated left wrist and torn tendons due to flying over his mountain bike's handlebars on February 11th, just 1 month out from the season opener at St. Petersburg. According to team officials, the team let Malukas go to avoid a legal issue. This is where things get interesting. If Arrow McLaren kept Malukas beyond yesterday, they would have ran the risk of appearing to almost guarantee Malukas the ride upon his uncertain status return. If they then cut ties with Malukas later this season, it's understood the team believed it ran the risk of being sued for false promises. Malukas was notified of the termination within minutes of the completion of the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, which wasn't Arrow McLaren's best showing this so far this season. Later in the day, Malukas released a statement stating, "These past 3 months have been challenging," it said. "I felt privileged to have the opportunity to drive for Arrow McLaren and regret that it never materialized. I would have loved to continue representing the team and its partners going forward. They have been good, and I appreciate all that they have done for me. I have done everything possible to speed up the rehab process, treatments, therapy, strength training, but my recovery has taken longer than anticipated. Every injury is different, and every body heals at a different pace. I'll turn my full attention to getting back to 100% and then prove that I am ready and able to compete to win." Arrow McLaren is finalizing its driver assignments for the remainder of the 2024 season and will announce confirmations for upcoming races in due course. So, Josh, with all that, knowing a little bit more now than what we did yesterday, what is your take on Arrow McLaren terminating David Malukas?
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Friday, but he got fired on his day off. How do you get fired on your day off? I think this is Bush League by Arrow McLaren. It wasn't. I mean, athletes get hurt all the time. They get hurt on their motorcycles. They get hurt doing stupid stuff. I can understand I can understand, Arrow McLaren being mad that he got hurt, but they never gave this young man a chance. I mean, like you said, and like Lucas said, people heal at their own pace. I mean, and if as long as he was doing everything he could to be able to get back out there, and he was attending races and attending team meetings, I think this is Bush League by Arrow McLaren, and especially minutes after. For them to say it was done minutes after the end of Barber was, they were just waiting. They never gave the young man a chance, and I hope he's able to catch on somewhere, and hopefully he goes on to be a fantastic driver. I think this is just Zach Brown and Arrow McLaren being upset about their dismal season. I mean, they were handed a win on a technicality, and it was a right technicality, but they were handed a win. I understand that you want your drivers out there, but I don't think that. I think had Malukas come back, it would have taken time to get back acclimated to the car. But I don't agree with this. This sets a bad precedent for Arrow McLaren. It makes it look like they never really believed in Malukas. I don't know why they would have brought him on to begin with if they weren't going to be all go, no stop on supporting him.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it is a no-win situation for either side. I don't think either side gained anything. It's no fault of Malukas's that he had the mountain bike accident a month before the season. I was reading on Twitter, and I thought someone made a good point, and they were talking about, what are these drivers or athletes in general? What are they supposed to do in the off season? Just sit around and be doormat, not go out and enjoy their life? So it's a no-win situation for either one. I think it makes, obviously, like you said, it makes Arrow McLaren look bad. Not giving, signing Lucas, and then obviously not giving him an opportunity to actually see what he brings to the table for them. So it does make them look bad. And then, like I said, it's a no-win situation for Malukas either, because now you're out of a job, and you can't go job interview for anywhere because you're not 100% healthy. So it is going to be interesting to see when and if Malukas is able to get back on the track this season, what team maybe picks him up, maybe for the second half of the season, to see what he can do. And then for the Arrow McLaren side, I think one would have to think, with this change being made so quickly and so close to the month of May, I think odds would have to be that you're going to see Callum Ilott, I think, back in that car for the road course race next weekend, and I'd imagine for all the festivities that come around the 500. I could be wrong, but it would not surprise me, Josh, to see Ilott in that car going forward until Zach Brown and the people over at Arrow McLaren have something more stable and concrete.
Definitely. I like all your points, and Callum getting back into that car would be beneficial for him. Still don't agree with Arrow McLaren's decision. But you know what? That's why I'm not a team owner, nor am I an executive in Arrow. But I just think it's Bush League what they did to the young man.
Yeah, and with that being said, I just want to say Josh is not a team owner yet. He's working his way there. He's not a team owner yet. But with that being said, we will drop the checkered flag on this latest episode of the Push to Pass podcast. If you did miss anything, you can go back on YouTube and catch the video version there, or you can go to your favorite podcast platform and catch the audio version there as well. A huge thank you, as always, to Mike for joining us, giving his betting advice, reviewing, handicapping what took place this past weekend in Barber. Stay tuned, because we will bring you in 1 week's time. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel. We'll be previewing the Cincio Grand Prix out at the famous Indianapolis road course. And then it is, as Josh likes to put it, the granddaddy of them all, the Indianapolis, the 107th running, I do believe, of the Indianapolis 500. Can't wait to get out there and get everything kicked off for the month of May. I know me and Josh are going to be out there on Thursday, picking up our media credentials and everything that comes with that. So definitely the excitement is building, as the month of May is just a few hours away. So for myself and Josh and everyone else that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, we say so long for now. But again, we'll be back in 1 week's time to preview the Cincio Grand Prix from the Indianapolis road course. So until then, so long, everybody.
This is the stuff that dreams are made of. For Linus Lundqvist, as a rookie, to be chasing down a two-time champion and an Indy 500 winner in Will Power, one of the most famous names in IndyCar history.
And pressure behind you. Nice job.
Lundqvist with 55 seconds just became eligible on that push to pass, but he doesn't look close enough yet. Here in turn 2, he'll have a great shot going to the brake zone if he can stay close. But James, it just doesn't look like he's got the gap there.
It's just a little too much. Certainly, you see the push to pass. Everybody being generous on it right now. Below trying to hang on to that 5th position. Lundgaard behind him doesn't have much push to pass. This is the battle for the last podium spot. But lots of breathing room for Scott McLaughlin, the thirsty threes, and that meat wagon Teo Pocher around in turn 5. Most of the field's by. They'll probably stay green.
So McLaughlin, whose week started with controversy, couldn't believe when he got the news that himself and Joseph Newgarden were disqualified from the season opener for the team being outside the rules and regulations of the push to pass. He was last in the championship points after that DQ. He has answered it emphatically. Scotty Mack, McLaughlin wins at Barber for back-to-back years, and Team Penske back on top.
Oh yeah, 33 to the moon, boys. Thank you so much. Well done, team. So proud of the execution. So proud. Thanks.
Quick shot there of White Carly. These guys are expecting their first child later in the year. That's a way to rebound.
It sure is. And guys, if you were expecting a little bit more of an animated celebration given everything, Scott McLaughlin is exhausted. He has given everything that he's got. This track's so punishing on racing drivers. You can see it in his face, the heat, the physicality of it. He's happy, but he's tired. He's as tired as he is happy, I think, T-Bell.
Well, and he really had to keep it together along with Will Power when they made that lap 45 pit stop.
That was probably the funnest couple of laps. The last couple of laps before that pit stop, man. One of the best laps I've ever done.
You know, when he was battling it out with Will Power deep in the field, he had to watch out that he didn't run into or got run into by anybody else in the field at the same time going wheel to wheel with his teammate.
Here's your Advanced Auto Parts moment of the race. Scott McLaughlin.